but I'm living for right now. Cause what if tomorrow never comes? I'm not waiting for the confetti to fall.
Hi, I'm Cherie and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that I beat my depression. Okay, let's get right into this video. Way number 1. One thing that I did, this was the first thing I did, was counter my negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So for example, years ago, I used to always tell myself, I hate myself. And I would think that. So if I ever thought I hate myself, then I would make myself say out loud 10 times, I love myself. So I would go I would think, then I would go, oh man, I gotta do it 10 times. It's kind of long. I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. I love myself, 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 I love myself. Also, I would post those positive thoughts around my room. So at the time I was in college, I was living in my dorm, so they had the closet that you can open up like this. It was like a wardrobe, and I would put sticky notes on my mirror, and it would say I love myself, or I'm worth it, or I'm beautiful, whatever my mind was telling me that wasn't true. I would write those sticky notes on the I would just put them all around. I live by myself, so I didn't really have to worry about roommates. I could put it in the bathroom, on my mirror, I would put it on my car, I could put it in my laptop, even in my phone, or I would put it anywhere that I looked a lot. It really all starts with your mind, because you really have to reteach yourself how to think. One great recommendation too is a book by Joyce Meyer. It's called Battlefield of the Mind. And your mind really is a battlefield. You have to think about what you think about, and she talks about that a lot in the book. And one thing I also did was use scripture to counteract my negative thoughts. For example, if I thought oh, I hate myself, then I would find a scripture that talks about Jesus' love for me, and that was really helpful as well. Scripture is really powerful, which brings me to my second point: counseling. So this one is really big, and I have so much to say about it. So when I went to college, I majored in rehabilitation and human services. So basically working with people with disabilities, whether that's mental, physical, it's really broad. And I learned a lot about counseling too. So I'm a really big advocate for counseling, and the first time I've ever been in counseling is when I was in college. I was truly deeply depressed, and I really needed it, and it really helped so much. Right now, what I'm doing is something called holistic counseling. So the difference to me is that counseling is more you talk about your emotions, your feelings, things that you dealt with in the past, and that is super helpful. But with holistic counseling, you talk about so many different things. You don't just have these emotional goals. It's it can be physical, it can be social, work related. It really counsels the whole person, and it has been really helpful in my life. And I will tell you that when I first started going to counseling, I think after a couple of months, I started feeling an improvement in my mood. But if I read the scripture, the scripture is powerful, and it really improved my mood dramatically. And putting them together is really helpful. For me, I could go to counseling for 2 months, and that can be the same growth as reading the scripture for 2 days. The scripture really can transform your heart. So I do recommend doing that as well. But back to the holistic counseling, and just the counseling in general. One thing that I did start was taking medication. So that story is kind of a long story, but I ended up taking it when I was hospitalized for depression. So at first I had a really negative connotation. I'm just no, I'm not taking any medicine, I don't need that, it's not that bad, whatever. But it actually really helps, because the thing is, there can be chemical imbalances in your brain, and the medicine kind of helps balance you out and improves your mood. So when I started taking medicine, I'm not on it anymore, but when I did take it, I think I took it for it's probably 4 years, and it was really helpful. So and if I ever feel myself going back, and I'm maybe I need to go back on medicine, I definitely will do it. But right now I'm not on it, and oh my god, so happy. I just thank the Lord that it's not something I grew out of it, because I didn't want to do it forever. But anyway, moving on to holistic counseling, there are several things that my holistic counselor taught me that I did not learn in just normal counseling. That brings me to my third point, which is changing your behavior. So one thing that I worked on in holistic counseling is changing my behavior, specifically related to work. So I'm a kindergarten teacher, and teaching is really stressful. Let's just leave it at that because I don't want to rant about that. But you know, all jobs are really stressful. You know, it's harder when you have to like manage people, especially manage little ones. And so one thing that I would do, if I like, this didn't happen a lot. I think this happened like a couple of times like in my teaching career, but I was so low and so like depressed, so like overwhelmed, that I would go home and like I would just be like, look, like I'm not feeling good. And you know, thankfully, like my supervisor, my bosses, they're like really understanding, and it was never a problem or anything. But I would have to take like personal time, or sometimes like when I did take my personal time, like if I didn't come in at all, it was usually related to depression and not because of like a physical, like, you know, being sick. So one thing that my counselor told me that I could do is, you know, if I am at work, you know, sometimes you need that mental day. So like, you know, take the mental day if you need the mental day. But if I was at work, I could do something different than to go home, and that's progress. So what I would do, sometimes I would go to my car, sometimes I would, you know, read the Bible, listen to a sermon, sometimes I would take a nap, you know, call a friend, like do something instead of going home that changed my behavior. You can go on walks, you know, sometimes I would read my Bible, I would write my journal. Even sometimes when I'm in the classrooms, it's hard because you can't just get up and leave the classroom. You need someone to cover you. So I would just tell my students, look, put your heads down. I'm turning the lights off for 5 minutes and you're going to sit there in silence. And I would get my journal out and I would write, you know, little Johnny is getting on my nerves. He won't stay in his seat. Like I would just get it all out during those like breaks. So I think that's one thing that was really helpful, is just changing small behaviors. And it's not all going to happen overnight, but just those small behaviors add up. And you know, it just really allowed me to just have complete the day. Like having depression, like even when I was in college, I would miss classes because I felt like I had to go back to my dorm and recharge, and my go-to was sleep. So the thing is, instead of just sleeping, I would try to have other coping skills, and that actually helped me a lot. The fourth thing that I learned, or the fourth tip, and something else that I learned in holistic counseling, is my diet. And I'm not talking about dieting to lose weight. I'm talking about like changing what you eat. I actually realize what I eat has an effect on my mood. If I sit here and if I go to Wendy's and get a 4 for $4 with a tropical berry lemonade, you can tell I get that a lot. But if I do that, then I'm gonna feel sluggish and I'm not gonna feel my best. But if I go downstairs and if I have like, you know, some chicken or some seafood or even like a salad, and not even worrying about like, oh, this dressing is a lot of calories, like just eating a salad so you can get some nutrients. Like it doesn't even have to be like all this dramatic. But I realized this with teaching. I said to myself, like, I have to eat clean to keep up with my kids. But then I'm just like, I need to eat clean just so I can be in a better mood. Like it is actually really helpful. And another thing that I learned in holistic counseling is about magnesium, and how magnesium, it's a, well, it's kind of like a chemical that's found in foods, and you can also take like the dietary pills. One thing that I just learned about my body is my body was lacking magnesium, and magnesium, it has lots of benefits. You can like Google it to like look up more benefits, but like one of those benefits is that it fights depression, and it's found in avocados, dark chocolate, nuts, seeds, whole grains, like the list goes on. And my counselor told me, she said, if you're ever feeling low, like try to like eat some avocado, eat some dark chocolate. So I would keep avocados, I would keep dark chocolate in the freezer. And if I was ever feeling low, I would take a piece, or like I would eat like avocado with crackers, or just take a piece of dark chocolate, and it actually did improve my mood. I tried this Whole30 diet. You know, you can Google that, but basically you're not eating anything but proteins, fruits, and vegetables. Like no sugar. It's all these chemicals you can't eat. Like it's really strict. And I did that with a friend, and I didn't complete it, but I started it. And I remember after 2 weeks, my body felt so amazing. It was insane. And also it helped with my sleep, and it helped me wake up easier. Like, have you ever like Google how do you wake up easier? Like, you know, I tried like Alarmy and sleepy time tea and melatonin pills, like all of that stuff. But I'm telling you, change your diet, cut out sugar. And when I wake up now, I'm just like, like I'm in a movie. It's insane. Changing your diet really helps, or really helped me with my depression. And the last thing that I want to mention, one thing that helped me fight my depression, is just learning your body. I realized every day around like, I didn't realize this until quarantining. Every day around like between like 2 or 3:30, I would get sad. And it was weird because I'm like, I'm waking up, I'm feeling good about the day, whatever. And then like I get this period where I just don't feel good. I'm just like, why am I feeling like kind of sad? And this is off my pills too. And then around like when it got a little bit dark, I would get like my energy back and I would start to do things. And guess what I learned? I was just hungry. And my body was lacking nutrients. So what I did for a week straight, every day around like, around that time at like 2 o'clock, 2:30, I would take one of the magnesium supplements. And my body actually, I didn't feel like sad. It actually really helped. So I just noticed that like, okay, my body is lacking nutrients. Like I just need to eat around this time. It was just really helpful, just like really learning my body and paying attention to what works for me, what doesn't work for me. What do I eat that makes my body feel bad, that makes me feel bad, like mentally? I'm just now learning, like within a couple years, that I'm lactose intolerant, and I grew up with my stomach always hurting. Like it just hurted all the time, and I'm just like, okay, let me go lay down, my stomach hurts. And I've been to the doctors and everything, and I think around that time is when I they just asked me like, are you lactose intolerant? And I was like, I don't know. And then when I actually tested it, or I didn't go to the test, but every time I eat like dairy foods, my stomach hurts. And my notebook just fell. Every time I was eating dairy foods, my stomach would hurt, and then that would affect my mental health. I forgot what I was gonna say, so just kidding. Thumbs up. Great job, everybody. Anyway, those were basically the 5 things that helped me to fight my depression. And I just want to leave by saying, like, I did not do all of this overnight. The first thing I did, like countering my negative thoughts, that was in college, probably in like 2013, 2014. And then me learning that I get like sad around 2 or 3 o'clock because I'm hungry. I just learned that now during quarantine. So like this journey is ongoing. It might take you years, like it took me to really understand my body, but it might take you like some months if you're really like what is it called, consistent with it. So I just want to leave by just saying that, like, it's not going to happen overnight. Be nice to yourself, take your time, and remember that faith without works is dead. You have to actually do something if you want to get out of this. And I know it's hard because I've been there. Like, you don't even want to get out of bed. Just start with countering your negative thoughts. Get a journal. Write down everything that you say that's negative towards yourself. Counter it with your positive. Every time you say something negative, say that positive 10 times. And it actually gets annoying. And I was like, and even when I think it, I'm like, oh man, because I like to say it out loud, so like it actually really kind of helped me to stop. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ask questions, anything. I'm here for you. Bye.
I talk to God, I ain't talking to myself. But when I do that, now I'm back to feeling good again. Why they label me, yo?